Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the video. This is a huge game tonight for the Canadiens and the Leafs. And let's just say, it's easy to say it's a big game. It's a huge game all the time. But based on how the Canadiens have been playing of late, this is a big one. And it's a big one for many, many reasons. Florian Xhekaj making his NHL debut tonight at home in Montreal at the Bell Center versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. He will be playing on a line with Jake Evans and Josh Anderson. I got to say, when I first saw that this was going to be the lineup, this was going to be the line mates for Florian Xhekaj, I was actually like, yeah, that's perfect. Like, maybe not perfect, maybe perfect isn't the word, but I was thinking that it looked like a really good pairing for Florian. So we're going to get into it all here, guys. All right, so Leafs and Habs tonight. The Leafs are really banged up. No Austin Matthews, no Matthew Nyes, no Nicola Waugh, no Chris Tanev, no Anthony Stolarz, no Brandon Carlo. It's a banged up Leafs lineup, as is the Canadiens. So you'd have to think that on paper, this should be a pretty evenly matched game tonight. And it's going to be an interesting one with different players that really haven't played against each other before. It really should be an interesting one given the usual players in the lineup for both teams that we're used to. So I'm curious to see how these teams are going to respond. The Canadiens are going to have to dig deep tonight because there's no excuse tonight for a poor performance from these Habs. Yesterday, Marty St. Louis called the Canadiens' practice after the loss to Washington the most intense practice of the season. We also weren't sure, by the way, if Jake Evans was going to play tonight because he went into concussion protocol after the hit to Tom Wilson, and Jake actually was interviewed this morning asking about what he thought of the hit on Wilson, and Evans said that he was bleeding at the mouth after the hit, so that pretty much spoke for itself, is what Jake said. It's just really nice to see that Jake will be able to play in this one with already a lack of center depth for the Canadiens right now. Nick Suzuki maybe not being 100%. Jake Evans and Nick Suzuki are carrying a lot of the load at center, and without Evans in the lineup, that would have made things a lot tougher for the Canadiens tonight. Coming into this game, the Leafs are 9-9-3. The Canadiens are 10-7-3, just 2 points separate these two squadrons. So the Canadiens have 23 points to the Leafs 21. In the last 5 games, the Leafs are 1-2-2. The Habs are 0-4-1. Jakub Dobeš getting the start in net for the Canadiens tonight versus Joseph Woll. This is a big game for Dobie to get his confidence really going here. We saw Sam Montembeault get pulled early against the Capitals the other night. Let's get Dobie a good start here tonight because I want to see Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada against a rival team. This is Dobeš's time to restart, refresh, and regain his confidence and really put on a good show here. Let's get to the lineups for both these squads. Nick Suzuki centering Cole Caulfield and Zachary Bolduc. That remains the top line right now for the Canadiens, as Slavkovsky remains now on the second line with Oliver Kapanen and Ivan Demidov, seeing if you can get more of that Slavkovsky-Demidov chemistry going. These guys are all within the same age range too, right? With Kapanen, Demi, and Slavkovsky. So let's see how Slavkovsky responds to being moved off of what I call the comfort line with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. I said in my last post-game video that Slavkovsky plays better with Nick and Cole, but I think, the saying is comfort kills, and I want to see Slavkovsky get out of his comfort zone and find himself getting comfortable playing with other line mates. There's a lot more to be had from Slavkovsky. I mentioned it in my last video. I don't want to see this team sulk and get down on themselves when things aren't going well. I want to see Slavkovsky produce on a different line with different players. That's just a desire that I'm sure he has. I'm sure the Canadiens have. We all have as fans here, right? Then the line of Florian Xhekaj, Jake Evans, and Josh Anderson. So depending on how Marty St. Louis deploys these lines and how many minutes these guys get, Jake Evans, Josh Anderson, they've been getting more minutes. So with Florian Xhekaj on there, his first NHL game, he's got a big assignment on what could be the third line for the Canadiens. So this is what the Canadiens are expecting from Florian. As Florian was interviewed in the pregame today, they're expecting a heavy fork-checking presence for the Canadiens. I think that Jake and Josh, they can dig out pucks. Florian can dig out pucks. Josh and Florian can get physical. We're going to see a really physical game, I think, from the Canadiens, an emotional one, because they need a big response. They need one from the previous game against Washington. They just need it tonight. On the fourth line, we did see Joe Veleno get his first goal with the Habs, playing alongside Jared Davidson and Brendan Gallagher. So let's see that line stick together, keep the chemistry together between these lines as the Habs injury woes are there. We have to work on new chemistry with new players, as I just mentioned with Slavkovsky. The defense has to be tighter in front of Jakub Dobeš, in front of the Canadiens goaltenders in general. Mike Matheson and Dobson, I've been pretty happy with this pairing. I got to say, no major complaints because when they're out there, I feel comfortable, they're responsible, and they've been contributing offensively too. Jaden Struble and Lane Hudson, these guys have been playing together for a while. I want to see them keep working it. Arber Xhekaj and Alex Carrier. So is tonight a night where we see the Xhekajs, plural, unleashed? This is a big night for the Xhekaj family, frankly, with the whole family. Both parents going to be in attendance to see Florian and Arber play their first official regular season tilt together. We saw that they got to make the trip, at least as their mom did, for the preseason game. But this is a game that matters. So I really hope that for the sake of everybody in attendance, everybody watching, for Habs fans, for all of us here, that the Xhekaj brothers make their mark in this game. Because of the Habs injury situation, you're seeing the power play lines that we were used to getting split up and hopefully spreading the, offensive wealth, if you will, on both lines. We got Slav, we got Cole, we got Nick, Lane, and Zach Bolduc on power play 1. PP2 has Gallagher with Dobson, Suzuki, Demidov, and Kapanen. So you've actually got Nick Suzuki double shifting on both power play units here, but I really hope that they can start getting some power plays to work here. I want to see the power play click because as of late, it just hasn't been there. The chemistry, the goal scoring, the production just hasn't been there. The Canadiens really need to get back to making their power play effective on both units. Let's just say effective total, period, in general. Just because the Toronto Maple Leafs lineup is depleted right now, it's no reason to expect that this is not going to be a difficult game to win. The Leafs have been struggling out of the gate this season. They've been searching for themselves. That's a team that has a lot higher expectations in terms of, offensively, but a lot of their biggest offensive weapons, namely Austin Matthews, Matthew Nyes, are out of this lineup. So they're going to be leaning heavily on William Nylander, John Tavares, and their secondary scoring to help put up a good fight against these Canadiens tonight. With that in mind, let's talk about the Leafs lineup really quick. So the first line, John Tavares with William Nylander on his left, Cal Yarncroke on his right. Second line, Max Domi with Bobby McMahon, Nicholas Robertson. There's skill and physicality on this line, but mostly skill, I guess I would say. Third line, Scott Lawton with Steven Lorentz and Easton Cowan. That's an interesting one tonight, I think, is seeing the matchup potentially between Easton Cowan and Florian Xhekaj. Are they going to be going at each other? If that's the case, if this line is the one that goes against the Florian Xhekaj line, I expect the Florian Xhekaj, Josh Anderson, Jake Evans line to be all over these guys. Fourth line of Dakota Joshua, former Habs Samuel Blais, and Matthias Michelli on that fourth line. And your defense pairs, Morgan Riley with Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the first pair, Simone Benoit, Jake McCabe on the second pair, Dakota Mermis and Troy Stetcher on the third pair, newly acquired Troy Stetcher for the Leafs on the third defense pair. The first power play unit for the Leafs is interesting to me with Easton Cowan on it and Austin Matthews, of course, not on it. John Tavares, Easton Cowan, Morgan Riley, Cal Yarncroke, and William Nylander. There's still a good amount of offensive weapons on that line. The second power play unit for the Leafs, Domi, McMahon, Ekman-Larsson, Michelli, and Robertson. So I think the first power play unit has some interesting options on it. And let's just not underestimate this Leafs lineup tonight. I know on paper, I feel like the Canadiens should win this game. Why? I think they are desperate to win this game, but they have to fight for it. And I'm really curious to see with certain big cast members, if you will, not available on both teams, what kind of a game are we going to get tonight? Is it going to be physical, skilled, high scoring, lower scoring? A goaltending duel? I don't know what to expect in this game, but you tell me what you expect. Leave a comment down below, guys. Hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you to all the Deke Squad members out there. Thank you for supporting this channel. Love you guys. We'll see you post-game tonight. I'm expecting a big tilt from these Canadiens and Florian Xhekaj's NHL debut. We'll see you guys post-game. Go Habs. Go, baby. We need this one tonight. We need it. We need it badly, and I mean badly. We'll see you guys post-game. Ciao.